Welcome to Season 2 of Sonic Subcultures. This season, Safa, Hachi, and I, Marc, Lajeunesse, look at 10 of our most formative records. Before we started a music and culture podcast, we just vibed with records we loved. In different ways, we became part of many different musical subcultures as we grew into the music lovers we are today. How do the Spice Girls, indie sleaze, and hardcore affect a person's musical journey? What kind of connections are there between these wildly different genres, and when you put them together, what kind of listener do they make? Stick with us on this season of Sonic Subcultures as we explore these questions through 10 formative albums.
The year was 2019. We were being fed some pretty incredible albums. Little Sims, Denzel Curry, Solange, Ways Blood, FKA Twigs. Then came IGOR. IGOR introduced another Tyler the Creator alter ego, this time a heartbroken one. He's used personas before, Dr. TC, Wolf Haley, Flower Boy, Sir Baudelaire. These characters let him get personal, sometimes as armor, sometimes as release. But with IGOR, it felt especially raw. He wasn't just talking about heartbreak, he was unraveling it. Love, loss, jealousy, desperation, possessiveness, ego, acceptance, it's all there. There's a type of media I call repeat, rewind, reinterpret. Stuff I can watch or listen to 100 times without getting bored. Not because it's the most artistically perfect, but because it evolves depending on where I'm at emotionally. You hear one thing when you're in love, something completely different when you're heartbroken, your empathy shifts, the story bends, you age into it, all that stuff. For me, IGOR sits right alongside Fleabag, 500 Days of Summer, and Normal People. Art that isn't just about heartbreak, but the different embodiments of it. I first heard IGOR at a house party in my final year of high school, one of those small get-togethers where half the people had gone home, a few people are playing beer pong, someone's passed out on the couch next to the house cat. The music was playing low out of a record player to avoid noise complaints. I heard Tyler's voice over a warped, eerie melody I had not heard before. The track was I Don't Love You Anymore. And because asking for the song name at the time felt like social suicide, I turned my brightness all the way down and Shazammed it quietly. Later that night on the bus ride home, I pulled out Spotify and there it was, that pink album cover, that almost monstrous version of Tyler staring back at me. At the time, I already knew Earthquake and I Think from TikTok, but I hadn't listened to the full album. I remember listening all the way through and thinking, wait, this is really good, and it held my attention from start to finish. Flash forward to 2021, there I was going through my first heartbreak. Naturally, I turned to music. I shuffled an old sad playlist of mine and the first track that came up was I Don't Love You Anymore. But this time, it landed with a weight that I hadn't felt before. I wasn't just hearing the story, I was living it. Even weirder, the person who broke my heart, someone I never spoke to about the importance of this album, sent me Are We Still Friends as a way to apologize. Proof that the themes linger. All of the Tyler albums do this. They take you through emotional states. IGOR was the soundtrack to my first heartbreak, and I'm sure I wasn't the only one. Stay tuned, because on this episode of Sonic Subcultures, we're exploring performance and persona, heartbreak and ego, audience expectation, and artistic control, all through the distorted pink lens of Tyler Okonma's IGOR. Hey Marc, how's it going?
It's going great!
So, just before we get into the deep and rich storyline of Tyler, do you have any baseline Tyler knowledge at all?
No.
Perfect. That's what I'm here for. Well, born and raised in California on March 6, 1991, Tyler Gregory Okonma, known professionally as Tyler the Creator. He's a rapper, singer, songwriter, and record producer, and sometimes actor. Raised by his single mother, which is important to note as he brings up a lot of daddy issue-related topics in his music. From a young age, he was a creative. He taught himself how to play piano and would design album covers for fun. His music career started off online, where he would post his own songs and connect with other like-minded artists on MySpace. This led to the creation of the music collective Odd Future Wolfgang Kill Them All, also known as Odd Future. There were some pretty big names on there. Alongside Tyler was Earl Sweatshirt, Sid the Kid, and Frank Ocean, so this was a time for music. They went on to release a bunch of mixtapes, their own singles. They had a clothing line. They even had a comedy sketch on Adult Swim called Loiter Squad. And in 2011, they had established their own record label called Odd Future Records. They were popular, like, for sure. Like, there's no denying that. But they were still technically considered, like, underground, but, like, in the cool way, where it was like they were the top of the chain underground. They were also considered, like, badass kids. And badass not in, like, the cool badass, but in the rowdy and controversial way. I mean, Tyler was 14, 17 at the peak of this. But unfortunately, a lot of the themes of their projects revolved around, like, violence and misogyny and even homophobia.
Right.
And I don't know if Tyler and Frank were out at the time, but both of those artists are bisexual. And Sid was is a lesbian and was out at the time. So it kind of sucks that they kind of use that as like a, oh, well, if they were gay or if they were bi, like they were allowed to make those jokes.
Right.
This actually led to them getting drops from a bunch of record deals at certain points, even getting banned in the UK, but we'll talk about that in a bit. Before his first studio album, he released his first work, The Bastard Mixtape, in 2009 at age 18, which led to traction and a record deal, and this is where everything kind of kickstarted. Pitchfork called it a minor masterpiece of shock, art, and teenage spleen vent, but it's also beautifully put together piece of work. But I think of Tyler's first official album, Goblin, and I think I was in 2011. I was 9 at the time. And it's crazy to think that I was listening to those kinds of records. And Goblin, actually, that's the one that got him banned in the UK due to the topics it covered. When Tyler went back in the UK, actually, in 2020, when he won an award for IGOR, part of his speech was actually dissing former Prime Minister Theresa May for banning him. So it was kind of It
was a prime ministerial ban?
Yeah. I think she must have been the secretary of something at the time. But the timelines converge a bit. It's still weird.
It's part of, I guess, the larger question of it. Like, what are we going to allow slide as the metaphor that where this stands in for something? And the UK just decided not this one.
Nope. They were like, we will not be messing with this. But it was a temporary ban, and he went back. But his goofy and he had that boyish spirit. You know, it was very popular LA culture in the 2010s. But yeah, the group's inactivity since 2016 was a silent close-off. But Tyler's solo career was doing pretty well during the Odd Future days, with Wolf and Cherry Bomb being released in 2013 and 2015, leading to a world tour. But commercial success really peaked at 2017's Flower Boy. And then 2 years later, 2019, he released Igor. Had you listened to any of his music or any of the Odd Future? You hadn't listened to anything?
No, not at all.
No way.
Yeah, no, I just wasn't here at this time. That's not where I was at. I mean, I spent a good chunk of time between 2011 and 2021 really enjoying old throwback technical metal and death grips as most of what I was listening to for that decade.
Yeah, so Tyler's not on the radar.
And then, things like when Kendrick, hit the peak, and then Danny Brown as well. This stuff was on my radar. A bit more obviously in my kind of style, grimy.
Yeah, grimy.
I'm from Windsor, Ontario. Again, this is the thing that appeals, right? And so I had never listened to anything Tyler, the Creator, have no sense of this backstory. It was interesting, though, because listening to this, just hearing it, I thought he was a New York guy. I got throwbacks to Mos Def.
Yeah.
Both in the way that he presents himself on the album covers, a lot of the Mos Def album covers have just him in some kind of pose, and Tyler, the Creator's thing is that thing as well. So I thought he was part of this revival New York
I could see that.
And I think that's certainly there sonically on the record, but so after listening to this 5 times, I did look up a couple live performances, and I was like, oh no, this is pure California.
Yeah.
It's just you can almost see Tupac riding through the desert, right? with some of the live performance antics that Tyler's doing. Where I'm just this is just all production. There's so much money behind this in a way that second tier of New York hip hop artists did not have, certainly at the time when they were coming out. So I mean, he's channeling a lot of things, but I had no context from where did this come, right? And so to the Arctic Monkeys question, these are personas.
Yes. It's not fake.
Yeah.
It's not that he doesn't know. He very much uses these personas in a way. Up until recently, where he like addressed them as being different people, you were kind of under the impression that it's like, yeah, they weren't Tyler, but they were Tyler. Like, he did use them as a mask,
right?
But he would be talking to them in the earlier projects.
Yeah.
So it was like a separate entity.
Got it.
In terms of the New York thing, there's definitely a lot of influence, and you can hear that. But he also says like a lot of the people that he like looked up to were a lot of New York artists.
Yeah, I mean, he's pulling from everywhere.
Exactly.
I mean, we're talking about 25 plus years ago of the California LA fight is not the same. You know, you are allowed to channel all these different influences as though there was not crossover before as well. But yeah, it was really hard to place him based just on his style on this record. But I also understand that his records aren't really like one another either.
Yeah,
I've only listened to this one because that's the job of this podcast so
that's
far.
crazy. I hope it opens up doors for you to listen to
I
other
love this. The
projects.
best record we've done on this pod. It's probably the best record we're going to do on this pod this season. It's a masterpiece. It's that good. And right away I was like, well, this is an all-timer, right? You can tell 2 minutes into it the amount of effort that's going into this thing, and it does not drop the ball the entire time.
Speaking of effort too, like I think a person who's been in the music game for that long and who has been doing research even like before he got famous, let's say, he has kind of always known how to play the game. There's many interviews being like, you know, I did the whack shit, like I did the loud, rowdy stuff. You know, I was a teenager, like expressing the shit that you talk about in your diary and putting it in my music. But he's like, I wanted to put out like a more poppy record. Like I wanted to get on the billboards and let people know who the F I am.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. Like I mentioned commercial success being from Flower Boy, and that's what happened. It got Pitchfork's Best New Music. It hit number 2 on Billboard, topped the R&B hip hop album charts. It was all that I heard on my TikTok For You page for 2 solid years, like during the Art Ho phase.
Yeah.
But it was really Igor that he was like, people made fun of me for the pop hits, and I told them, I'm going to give you guys the best damn pop album you've ever seen. And that's...
Is this a pop album?
Not the full thing, but there's many interviews and he talks about it a lot where he's like, Earthquake, I knew what I was doing. Like he's like, I wanted to do something where people would, you know, bop their heads to it, dance to it. They would kind of forget who Tyler was in the past.
Yeah. Earthquake is my least favorite song on here.
Well, there you go. You're not like other girls.
And it's like still like an 8 out of 10. Like,
it's still so catchy.
Like it's very good. But I think the rest of what he's doing on here is incredible and very weird, really deliberate choices, both in terms of like sample production. This whole thing is great. It's one beautiful sad story, and it's told.
If you didn't like
well.
Earthquake, because it's also my least favorite, like I'm really excited to find out which ones were like the standouts for you, because I wonder if we have the same ones. But before we get into the story and the listening party, Marc, do you have a review for us?
I do have a review, but it was really hard to find any negative/critical reviews of this record. So I found one from Reddit. And it goes like this. Okay, so I'm not really sure that this quite belongs here, but I've been seeing lots of reviews on his newest album, IGOR, that say it's his best work to date, and it's fantastic music. And I simply cannot understand why people are saying this and what they see in it. I'm definitely not a fan of the album, obviously. I think many of his songs are very repetitive, with him saying the same thing over and over again. I also think the beats are really weird and don't sound good at all. I liked what he used to do. His Flower Boy album was really good in my opinion, and one of my favorite songs of his is Dami 23, which is unlike anything on his recent album. I just don't see why people find it good. That's my negative review for Igor here, which, to my point, and maybe like the bridging element of our Metallica episode, because again, we do these ones in pairs. We did Metallica and this one together. There's a difference here. There's a progression, a musical growth, trying something new that some people do not respond to. And I think like the key difference with that Metallica record and this one is that the Metallica fans mostly were not ready or ambivalent to what they did with the symphony. But here, this is the outlier. Like, this review is not standard. People, for some reason, and this is to what we were speaking about in the last episode, in terms of rap and hip hop doing progressive stuff, taking chances, really playing with production, songwriting, making odd choices that aren't reflected in prior releases, just letting the artist really experiment. It seems like that's where this genre is now situated and is like the best at doing, I think. Because this blew my mind with the choices he was making. Really out there. Even compared to like, Kendrick gets a lot of credit for doing odd stuff. Not like this. This is the real deal.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, not to nitpick on the Reddit user or anything. Obviously, you can enjoy music as you please. But Tyler has always been like super vocal about changing the storyline, hence changing the sounds and stuff. And once again, no shade. If he's bringing up Flower Boy as his point of like, oh, I really liked that, like there was always going to be that shift. I feel like the perfect way to get into it is with the storyline, but...
Yeah, so tell me what the story of this record is, because broadly, it really seems like the arc of a relationship from longing to it's done / what remains at the end is like the question, right? Ending with the "Are we still friends?" as you mentioned in the introduction. My understanding from this, based on the little bit of lore I had, is that this is a more hyper-specific queer romance type deal. Boys love, possibly. Is that what this is?
Pretty much,
and so, but the interesting thing is, across this record and the way that the story is plotted out, it did feel possible to overlay not that experience onto it and to relate to it in that way, which is maybe the one flaw I had with the record, where like he's doing references where he's speaking to a partner he wants about her, like the external thing, the heterosexual boogeyman. Is that what that is? Is that like reading that correctly? But I also think a lot of it is very vague. So as much as the persona is there to kind of block something, I do think he's not necessarily using it super well, even though it exists as this kind of defense. I'm fishing for a critique. Concept records are like this, where you have to play around, you build around rhythms, and you write things in odd orders. Maybe you start with the lyrics, you build around it. Maybe you have a cool beat and you put the things around it, and you try and make the story make sense, right? That's how writing concept albums works. Maybe this is by intention, and you can fill me in if that's the case. I don't need my records to give me a definitive statement about what you are actually about, but I wish there was one more line of explicit resolution of what it is you are actually trying to do, because I think being able to read this as a vague romance undercuts the possible potency of the record, where you say, nah, this is exactly about this, and you don't let people read it their other way.
I see. Yeah. Well, I think just in general, everyone's interpretation of all of Tyler's albums are like somewhat different and personal. I think that just naturally happens. Of course, like when you are like taking in media and interpreting it. But there is still always like a general consensus of what Tyler is feeling. Yeah. So what happened with Flower Boy was he starts confronting his loneliness and his sexuality and his need for love, all things that he used to make fun of in previous, like Goblin and Bastard and Cherry Bomb. But then 2 years later, our last impression of Tyler's emotional state is this bittersweet feeling of unrequited love, ennui, and self-discovery. So IGOR is what happens when you've gotten that love, and when you're in the early stages of acquiring it, when you officially get it, when you lose it, ultimately lose yourself, and then finally accept it. Like thematically, the album is about a boy, but it's also a love triangle. Where the character,
that seems
IGOR,
clear.
his male crush, and then there's a woman. The boy reciprocates those feelings to some degree, but does not go all in. But Tyler is a bit messy because he uses these alter egos, but it's reflecting things that are happening in his life and not things that take like FBI level, like fan stand digging to find. Because it's a real life story and you could find everything. Like you could easily find who the culprit is just from like being on Instagram at that time. He had met his friend Wyatt in 2016. Tyler fell in love. Wyatt didn't, but they stayed friends. And then Wyatt had a girlfriend during a lot of their friendship. So thank you, Wyatt, for IGOR. But that's like what it was like.
So this is more recent. It's not like a young love type thing. Oh, because
but I guess it's like younger, more public queer love.
Yeah, I guess there's interesting choices where he uses like the younger voice on the samples like really effectively. Where I'm like, I thought this was like his first love when he was like 13.
That's his voice of reason.
Is that what that is?
Yeah,
oh.
He does that a lot. I guess too. I didn't think about it this way. I mean, you can enjoy Tyler regardless.
Yeah,
but I guess you not having like the lore. No. A lot of the things is like whether it's like lower pitched is like more evil, like deep conscious, like unregistered therapist, like, and we'll talk about the personas later too. Sometimes like a higher pitch could signal like a voice of reason. Sometimes it could be a younger version of yourself. Sometimes it's the person that's like guiding you to make good decisions or bad decisions.
Yeah.
So it could really change. But I think with that, we'll go into track 1, Igor's theme. Yeah. The song that sets the tone of the album. Not necessarily sonically, because we don't stick with this sound cohesively, like it switches. We get it here and there, but if you click in like to the lyrics, it's talking about falling, running out of time, keeping eyes open, like he's saying these words back and forth. And these are all lyrics that you hear later on. Like he does this quite a bit, and I took note of it. Track 2 is Earthquake. Marc and I's least favorite on the album.
It's your least favorite too, because that's interesting. This is the only thing you spoiled for me from the record when you're like, this is going to be in your head after.
Oh, but it is, isn't it?
Because I was complaining about Spice Girls. This one, no.
Oh, I thought that because you make my earthquake.
No, not really. Riding Around Town, They're Gonna Feel This One. That's in there, and then some other stuff, but not from Earthquake.
This one was the only single off the album, and it played on the radio so much.
It was the only single. I was really. This one seems like a single, and I was really curious if any of the others became, because I had some guesses.
Fair enough, but no, this was the only one. It boomed on TikTok. It also played on the radio, so I think maybe that's why I wasn't a big fan. It peaked at 13 on the Billboard Hot 100s for 15 weeks. It has 1 billion streams on Spotify.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's a good song.
It starts off, this is a fan theory that I personally subscribe to, where there's like seasons to the storyline, because right now we're in phase 1, where he's like falling in love, obviously. The guy, why it makes his heart, his earthquake.
Yeah.
But he's like, Tyler gives us that dependent, anxious attachment side to him, urging the guy not to leave, and that if there's any big feelings that causes tensions, like they're his fault, don't leave, it's my fault. Tyler is clearly smitten, but he's willing to do anything to keep him in his life. Then track 3, I Think. You got the Pharrell-like 4-beat count. I'm a big fan of how like the monotone vocals sound in the verses, and then you've got the higher vocals in the chorus, and those are the ones that are a bit more optimistic. Those are the ones telling you, I think I'm falling in love. This time I think it's for real. I guess this was like the indicator of like it's not younger love, because every time you think that you're falling in love, like that was the one, no, that was the one.
Yeah,
and
I guess
Tyler's
that's true, huh?
Like painting this person as like, no, I think this might be it. But yeah, Tyler wants this person's attention and is struggling to express that. I think it's really cute too. One of the lyrics, I wish you would call me by your name because I'm sorry, a nod to Call Me By Your Name, a beautiful film by Luca Guadagnino about a short-lived gay relationship.
Yeah. This also has one of my favorite single lines on that record. I'm your puppet, you are Jim Henson. As I sit here wearing a fucking Kermit shirt.
No, literally.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure to any listeners who have heard the album, and to you who has also done the album, that there's a song called Puppet coming later on down the track list. Then track 4, you've got Exactly What You Run From, You End Up Chasing, which is kind of like interlude-esque. You have a lot of Jerrode Carmichael, the American comedian who serves as the album's narrator as it progresses. A fun, but also
he's great on this.
He does really well.
He doesn't do a ton, but the little bit,
that he does,
his delivery is so good,
hard hitting. Yeah. A fun but not so fun fact is that Carmichael confessed his like love to Tyler on like a random video, and Tyler proceeded to make fun of him and tell him to shut the F up, which is it's really sad. It like kind of blew up, and people started being like, oh my God, Tyler's like an asshole. He has people who loves him, but like he doesn't love them back. But anyways, I thought that was...
Is Tyler okay?
Yes and no. He's kind of a dick. That's the shtick. He's like a California underground skater type hip hop aficionado who made it. You can't not be an asshole.
Man.
Right? A lot of the people I bring on are just kind of bad people.
Well, I don't think much of Metallica were very nice either. So it's not just you.
In track 4, Carmichael ends with "There's always an obstacle." Many say that that's alluding to time. Speaking of, track 5, "Running Out of Time." He can feel the relationship slipping away. So this is where we kind of start to see the progression from the first 3 tracks of, there's love and there's that optimistic feeling of it being reciprocated. But now he's running out of time. He just came to terms with the feelings in Earthquake, and he expressed them in I Think. But now there's another obstacle. Not only time, but also Tyler says, "Take your mask off. linked to sexuality. I need her out of the picture, the third part of the triangle. This same idea of bringing the woman out of the picture is the central theme of track 6, New Magic Wand, which is a top 3 song for me.
This is a banger.
Yeah, I had a feeling you would like this one.
So good.
Have you seen live performances of this one?
This is one of the ones I saw, and out of anything I have seen ever, it made me miss being on stage the most.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh.
I had not felt that feeling, but I actually got emotional because I was like, that is what it is about. This is why I really like Tyler, Creator, because you can hear it in the record, you can see it on stage. I mean, when we played, we gave it everything, and it's so nice to see, with way more money than we ever had, but like he's still putting it all out there. You know, successful California guy now has many millions of dollars, I'm sure.
But he uses it.
Yeah,
to like elevate
you're
his
giving
craft.
your audience something incredible. It doesn't feel like he's doing a rote performance. I feel like the songs are in his blood in like a really authentic way that, again, to the last discussion we had about like, I don't know, metal and like authenticity and that stuff of like, this is the spirit of metal. Like this is it.
This is metal.
You have to keep feeling everything and the audience will be there with you. And like the performances for this are incredible and the song is just unbelievable. I mean, this record is just, man, okay, if you're a metal person listening to this because you've heard some of our other stuff and you're getting on this is metal now. Death Grips is metal now. This is
join us.
Yeah, this is prog now. Like come here. You can like the other stuff too. New Magic Wand. What else is there to say? This is an amazing song.
Mm-hmm. It really, really is. Carmichael's back, giving us the sometimes you gotta close a door to open a window line. You know, to move forward, you must let go of the things that are not serving you. And although it is used usually in a positive way, he means get rid of the girl.
Yes, that's clear. It's not a joke. Murder, She Wrote.
There you go.
Give me my Angela Lansbury callback. Like, legit, he's very good at appealing to the older man. I don't know, who watched TV with his grandma. I don't know why Tyler, the Creator, is so good at this. Oh, absentee father thing? You brought that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was probably watching Murder, She Wrote, Golden
Definitely.
Girls. You got Golden Girls references as well.
He's killing it. No, man's like in it with the culture, you know? Mm-hmm. But yeah, he talks about the new magic wand is clearly a gun, obviously. And he talks about, taking the girl out of the picture because she's really effing up his frame. Just as he said in track 5. Halfway through too, like you can just see the buildup. It's getting angry. Like he's giving the guy a chance, being like, I'm going to kill her. We can be together. But then he's like, no, because I hope you know that if she dies, if I kill her and I get rid of her and you don't choose me, I'll pick you both. Like you said, Murder, She Wrote. That like 2-minute 5-second mark where it's that creepy buildup, and then at 2:20 he just booms and Tyler is angry and the beat changes and he shows that he's reached his limit. He says no need for masks, bust through the door. So he's talking about the mask that he talked about in the previous song, but this time it's not just taking it off. It's like, I need you to come out of the door, come out of the closet.
Yeah, and exactly what you're talking about too is where he's doing these rhythmic change-ups that again are more common now in rap and hip hop than they used to be, but like his are just incredible. Like they hit you hard, and that's the beats are weird thing. It's like, yeah, they are.
Mm-hmm. That's the point.
That's the point. They really move the music in a unique way.
So now we've got track 7, A Boy Is a Gun, asterisk. So on the theme of guns, this song does kind of confirm that New Magic Wand is about being a gun. Tyler uses the real gun to shoot down his lover's lover, but Tyler's carrying on that theme. He's twisting the fact that now the boy can be a gun, someone who can shoot someone down, but more like turn them down. Love is a dangerous thing. This might be the death of Tyler when he says, "You so mother effing dangerous." And then started with A Mere Hello sampled in, which I thought was cute because Kanye is on this track, and Kanye used Bound by the Ponderosa Twins in Bound 2. So there's that homage to all of his fans being very present. I think he does a really good job with sampling as well. But yeah, a lot of mixed feelings, a lot of back and forth. They're fighting at the end of the song. It's officially a wrap on the I'm in love with you time period of the album, ending with the I'ma leave it at that, I'ma leave us as friends, because the irony is I don't want to see you again. And then he says it a bunch more times and ends with, I ain't gonna repeat myself, but stay the F away from me. And now track 8, Puppet. What did you think of Puppet?
Puppet's good.
I expected you to like it as much as New Magic Wand for some reason.
I like a couple of the tracks after this a bit more.
That's fair.
But like, to be honest, my thoughts on the record is that Earthquake is lower and the rest is at like a perfect 10.
So you're already liking it anyways.
Yeah, that's what I mean and again, I always listen to albums not as a collection of tracks. I always listen to it as one whole song, basically. And so while that made the Metallica record really difficult, it made this one amazing because it's a great song.
Yeah.
Like the whole 38 minutes of this thing is just so great. But I did find Puppet to be a bit more of a dip compared to what comes after. But basically from what's good to the end is kind of perfect. And in the same way, I think exactly what you run from, you end up chasing to Puppet is also just amazing.
Yeah. So we've entered the heartbroken and insecure part of the project. Tyler is seemingly more self-aware that he's being controlled by this guy with the chorus, "I'm your puppet, you control me." But he can't help but still want to talk to him and have him in his life, as stated in the opening lines. "I want to talk, I want to call you and talk. I want to walk to your front door and knock." He is melancholic and sad, starting off as more sad, then eventually turns into more bitter, and then it ending with Carmichael once again, "At some point, you got to come to your senses." Track 9, "What's Good?" I saw this as like an explosive, I don't care now. It's like maybe a callback to the New Magic Wand moment, because he opens with, "If the cops ask my name, bitch, I'm Igor," which I always took it not only as I'm not ashamed to tell the truth about loving you, I'm not ashamed to tell the truth about my sexuality, but everything I've done, yeah, like that was me sort of thing. Tyler's also seeing the situation more clearly. Like you can tell that he went from like a bit more sad to now he's angry about what happened. It's really reminiscent of Yonkers' Tyler's sound. It never really stood out to me, but you know, I don't hate it per se. And then once again, Carmichael, "I don't know what's harder, letting go or just being okay with it."
Yeah.
Which I think is a perfect segue to start off track 10.
But I do got this track does have "Hard to Believe in God When There Ain't No Mirrors Around." Pretty good line. Pretty good.
Poetry snaps.
Pretty good, man. Tyler, you earned your money.
When you really tap it, because I've always separated, you've earned your money. Yeah. I've always separated, like sometimes on listens, I'll be more like, damn, like this beat is good. Like I'm more focused on like the danceability or just like the groovability of things. And then sometimes I'll lock in and I'll just be like, whew, like that hit hard. Speaking of hitting hard, like Gone Gone Thank You is like a big wrap up. You know, Tyler's still a bit bitter and slyly digging at the girl, saying now that his former lover's interest has picked up. Let's hope that they're a good match. Like he's just saying thank you and gone, but he's still hoping that the door is somewhat open. Like there's clearly remnants of that love, and we see that in the other songs. This is clearly the part of the album where he's grappling with these feelings of I hate you but I love you, I hate you but I love you, because right after Gone Gone Thank You, I Don't Love You Anymore, track 11, which might come off as like a final wrap up of I Don't Love You Anymore. But he's asking questions, like he's more questioning the guy, even ending the chorus with, "But this might just be better for us, you know." My theory is that although it seems like Tyler is simultaneously letting us know that he doesn't love them, he's also kind of saying it to himself to be like, you know, I don't love you, like, it's okay, I'm going to be fine without you, sort of thing. Ultimately, he even mentions it at the song that he just wants a friendship. And we wrap up the album with Are We Still Friends? One of my favorite songs. I personally think it's a great way to wrap up the album.
Right. The
Al Green Dream sample does it for me every time. And the song itself, it sounds very like dreamy and lighthearted. It's got a hopeful vibe to it. Asking the guy, are we still friends? I've got to know. Sometimes when I listen to it, I find it cute. Sometimes I get sad thinking about like all the people who I think of when I listen to this track.
Right.
Sometimes I relate to the lyrics, like, you know, I don't want to end this season on a bad episode. And sometimes I get frustrated at Tyler too, because this is very much him wanting an in, because I don't think it's necessarily about him wanting to be homies with the guy. It's more just about being connected.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a good wrap to the full emotional whirlwind of everything the album does and the things you tend to feel. I don't know. I didn't read it as in the longing way, but I was thinking more in terms of like, you know, when a relationship goes bad type thing. And that hope that whatever was there at the beginning a la A Marriage Story or something, you don't hate the person, theoretically, even if you want to murder, she wrote, their other partner.
Maybe even the guy if he doesn't pick him.
Yeah, exactly. It's I don't know, the thing that you saw at the beginning, just because it's not going the full way you want, you don't want it all to blow up. There's something there anyway, right? I don't know.
But that's the beauty of the interpretation, is that I feel like we both had some similar points of how we interpreted the lyrics and the songs, and then some different points.
No, that's what I mean. And with music, you're going to pick it out and apply things to your own experience. It's what we do.
But yeah. Do you think after kind of like the storyline deep dive, that there's still that missing link of you wish that Tyler had been a bit more precise about the story? Or you still have the same feeling?
I mean, I just have a preference for concept records in general to be slightly more declarative about what this actually is than this is. And I don't necessarily think that's right. It's just me. But I'm one of those like anti-Roland Barthes people about like, the artist is dead. I hate that. The artist is alive in many cases. The artist lives in print, and in this case, the artist is very alive, being a dick on social media, apparently.
Yeah.
Which is sad to know. I don't.
He's still a decent guy. He's just
yeah. Well, successful musicians, right? Like you can't. It took
can't
me,
escape it.
Yeah, any musician really. It took a long time to unlearn terrible ways of interacting with people. There is nothing about this album that should be different, in spite of my preference for like I wish this was a bit more narratively directed as opposed to a stream of consciousness type concept, but there's nothing wrong with that, and the record is amazing either way. And in fact, I think the way it is, it probably lets more people connect with it, because you can kind of read into the vagueness of the story and the precision of everyone has felt stuff that is pretty close to some of the stuff here, not that part, not the new Magic Wand part, even though that is like the best song I hear for me. I don't know, it's so good. Gone's like the album's just amazing. Yeah, it's a beautiful sad story.
But Tyler is always like, he's from a young age, he's pushed hip hop boundaries and become like unpredictable in the topics that he talks about. If the killing is a metaphor, which I hope it is, I mean, I'm sure it is, but like I mentioned earlier, like he's talked about some really dark and twisted shit. I just wanted to like run through a couple alter egos here with you and like what themes and traits that they discussed. So you've got Ace, who was like one of the first ones on Bastard and Goblin. This was Tyler's therapist and inner voice. He served as like a framing device and moral compass. He was cold and rational, and he guided him through chaotic thoughts. So when Tyler was like younger and like just like dealing with a bunch of stuff with his family, his daddy issues, just like making it big, like this guy kind of, took care of all that stuff for him. I guess in a way a father figure. You've got Dr. TC. He's another therapist, but Tyler makes note of the fact that he's unregistered, which I think is funny. Similar to Ace, he helps him explore himself, but he like pushes him to do the like messed up shit that he thinks about doing. I mean, yeah, you've got a bunch like Troncat Wolf Haley. Wolf Haley is Tyler's director persona, which I think is cute. He's like bold, reckless, and rebellious. Tyler now like brings up these people, and although we mentioned the whole like mask on, mask off thing, Tyler always kind of channels these people when he's doing new projects, which I think is really cute. Yeah. But like, yeah, a lot of the themes of like shame and hiding emotion and being honest and maybe even like honoring darker parts of ourselves are very present. In like a cinematic universe, they're separate. And even on March 29th, 2023, RIP, all of Tyler's alter egos were actually declared dead.
Oh no.
Murdered by the man himself, Tyler, the creator. Yeah, this was kind of interesting though, because now we're moving past Igor. We're more 2024, 2025 territory, because he just released Chromacopia, and it hasn't been analyzed, because one thing is like Igor now is really easy to analyze, but when I was doing research and looking at older Reddit threads from when the album was just released, people were having theories of things that, yes, were confirmed, but people were trying to understand, like, what does this mean? Is he talking about Wyatt? Is he talking about Rain, which is like another girl that he dated? It was like an open-ended thing. So maybe in that way, I agree with you, where I think a lot of people sometimes kind of wait for the storyline to be posted and then everything kind of clicks and makes sense.
So interesting. Okay, this is fascinating because the modern era of concept album, and maybe that's why it can be vague. And I mean, Tyler obviously knows what he's doing better than most other people, definitely more than me, but like than anyone. It is rare to be this successful and this good at a thing, right? He knows the environment in which he's writing, and I think much to the Metallica album, what it did for me, the concept albums that I listened to when I was much younger, like old King Crimson stuff, Mars Volta, which we're going to close the season with, there is some speculation about what is there, but between the materials that are out there and the content of the albums themselves, you can kind of get exactly what they're trying to tell you. And I like that. But that's not the environment in which we're living, right? With those concept albums, you can read them as a story and they are self-contained. Even if they're vague, that is the thing that they're doing. This is different because it is trying to be like a viral marketing campaign for itself. The concept exists to be its own brand management. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Like with all the alter egos and like even the declaring them dead, like that's a PR move.
Yeah.
And it is an artistic move, but I would argue that Tyler, the Creator's art isn't just the music, it's also his social media presence. It's the whole thing. Right.
I mean, that's how we started off too. Like,
yeah, of course, like doing all the Adult Swim stuff and all that as well, right? Like that's a multimedia artist of which music is a part that he is excellent at, but you also can't overstate how important and how good he is at doing the other thing as well. That I think for me kind of clashes because I wish social media would go away.
Fair enough.
And not just from the old man point of view, but I do think much like AI is about to do and is doing, social media mostly did bad things to us as a collective. Now, that doesn't mean people can't do cool stuff with it, but my God, I do not think the world was made better.
Yeah. I feel like the reception of things, like specifically, like I mentioned the whole people making their own theories and for people to be like, you're wrong. But it's like, how am I wrong if I'm just interpreting it like this? Like, that was a lot of the discourse that I was seeing online. Yeah. And then people would come back to archived posts and at someone from 4 years ago and be like, see, I told you so. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, at this point, it's just about revenge. And I do see that PR lens for sure. Like, Tyler is not Tyler as he is online, as he is with his, with his homies, with his family and stuff. But there's something new kind of brewing with Chromacopia, his latest release, where
he has one after that, doesn't he? Didn't one just come out?
Yeah. But that one, he was like, that's just like, I just wanted to make an album to let people dance.
Oh, okay.
So there's no like alter ego to that. But then again, I wonder if people are going to make like a fan theory out of it. But I guess Chromacopia was like the last concept
gotcha.
album.
Okay.
Yeah. But he's like talking about legacy, family trauma, growing up, being paranoid about how successful that he's gotten. And I feel like these are the first times where he's like more explicitly talking about himself. Unlike Igor, where he never really explicitly said that it was about Wyatt. I think about one of the first songs that I heard on the album, because I didn't hear it in order just because everything was going out. Like, it was so viral at that one week when we got the surprise drop. The song Like Him, a beautiful ballad-like track about accepting the fact that on top of physical appearances, he might also he doesn't just look like his dad, but he also acts like his dad, and he's trying to confront this because he wants a kid of his own one day. And his mom is narrating. She kind of takes over the Carmichael role in this. And she admits at the end that despite Tyler being raised to believe his father abandoned him, his mother admits that she was actually scared to let him in, and she was the one who pushed him away. And this was a huge revelation for like fans. I mean, I'm sure it was crazy for Tyler too, because Tyler's father passed away in 2020, and Tyler's entire career, alter egos were all based on him being like a bad guy because he hates his dad, him being embarrassed that he misses his dad, him even questioning if he's into men because of the relationship that he has with his dad. Sure. So I wonder now like how you can move from that. I don't know, maybe this is like a shallow Gen Z social media PR take, but I wonder how he can move from that unless he completely comes up with something new. Which maybe that's the dance album.
Bowie reinvented himself a million times, and then he just started being himself and was still releasing bangers. So
yeah, like, Tyler's gonna release bangers no matter what. But I guess I wonder what it means for these fans who spend. It's like it's their day job to clock in and just like dissect every piece of Tyler's behavior.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess rounding to some kind of conclusion, does this social media thing, like being part of that collective discourse / false consensus / you're wrong part of this, Is that part of the allure of an album like this? Like, do you like that conceptual stuff because you get to be a part of that thing, or is it the artifact itself? Whereas, like, for me, it's definitely, I'm into these records on their own and I don't care what anyone else thinks of these. I like the story that I'm interpreting from it, and I will never tell anyone else exactly what I'm thinking about it, because I never liked the "you're wrong" thing that is happening to extremes now. Where you are,
I think I'm more on your side.
Right.
In terms of, I just like it to like it. And I like to have these conversations. I mean, #grateful, I have a platform to be able to talk about it. So in a way, I am doing it. But I think that it's that very toxic space of, this is the right way to interpret it, this is the wrong way to interpret something, yada, 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 is part of the reason that there's also like a death a bit to like critique culture in my generation, where a lot of like these video essays, someone puts out an album, YouTube is just me dissecting this album, me talking about that, the importance of this song, how this impacted this, da 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 da. And people make like a career off of just kind of regurgitating these theories that have been regurgitated by other fans and claiming it as fact.
Right.
And I feel like it kind of dilutes the project. You can go on there and just be like, I like this because of this and that. Yeah. And that's part of my intro. Like, I hear Igor a certain way because I think of so many people when I listen to it.
Yeah, I guess it's about second market creators trying to create fact out of interpretation, and in the way that interpretation is presented as fact, it kind of shuts down discussion. This isn't new though. Like, music circles have had this forever, the "what was this song about" thing. For, I mean, in metal, that's not about that, you know. It happens all the time. There were like, you know, metal fan conventions where you go talk to people and people would be very aggressive about the meaning.
That sounds really scary.
They'd quote like weird VHS interviews that people gave and be like, that's not what that is. This artist said this. So, I mean, it was always there, but I think you could disconnect from it a bit more. And also, don't worry, people will leave comments about your interpretation on our platform as well.
No matter
which
what.
we are to ignore.
Of course. Of course, not read about it and get in our head about it. But I think yeah, everything's just amplified by social media. But I think the key takeaway here is like, the same way that these musicians can explore certain themes and plots through their music is kind of how I feel when I embody different traits and moods or mindsets when I listen to certain genres. I kind of tune out what everyone else thinks about the album because it's special to me, putting on like an emotional costume and letting the music speak for itself. I think the album will always hold a special place in my heart. I'll never really feel bored of it because, like I said, each listen kind of reveals something new. It evolves with me. It'll always sound a little different every time I press play.
Yeah, I've had a couple old man takes on this episode, so, you know, you rack up bells in life. It happens. But I am just so happy to be alive in a world now where pop music, mainstream stuff is this good. We've never eaten this well at the mainstream level.
We're so well fed.
We are so well fed compared to, and, you know, I gotta bring it back to my girls, the Spice Girls versus this is doing remarkable things. Just imagining the next era of rap artists, producers that this is going to spawn when this is that mainstream level. Come on. Any critique that's on here, none of those matter because art is alive and well. So let's be happy to live in that moment. And then next week, I think we're taking a hard pivot somewhere else.
Yeah, it's okay. Sonic Subcultures Gen 2 or 3 are going to discuss what's coming up next.
That's right. Thanks for listening.
See you next time.
Tyler, the creator, Igor. Thanks for listening to Sonic Subcultures, part of the Media Resonance Network. You can check out this and other podcasts about media and culture on the Media Resonance YouTube channel at MediaResonance.com and, of course, on Spotify. Wherever you get our content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow. And hey, tell your friends. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Also, you can support us on Patreon. You can find us at patreon.com/the Media Resonance Network.